Any enemy you do not know is an enemy you cannot win against. Notice, if you may, when Paul writes, please pay attention now, Apostle is teaching. I'm going to be deep, so I'm taking my time here. Notice, if you may, Paul writes and he says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Somebody say flesh and blood. But he says, against principalities. He then comes and he says, against powers. That on its own should tell you, please look up and pay attention. That on its own should tell you that principalities are not powers. Powers are not principalities. One of the reasons why he's using the word against. Do you see that there? Where he says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Then he says, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So every time you are dealing with spiritual wickedness, you need to understand you are not dealing with the rulers of the darkness of this world. That is why he's using the word against again. He does not say, so that everybody will understand, he does not say, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of the darkness of this world, spiritual wickedness in high places. Did you see what I just said? So he does not line them up like that. One of the reasons why he's using the word against is because these are different entities. So in verses 12 of Ephesians chapter 6, you have 4 entities that Apostle Paul mentioned. And the first one there is principalities. The second one there is what? Rulers of what? Come on, church. Shall I leave you alone now? Okay. Against powers, that's the second one, right? Then the third one is, and the fourth one is. So you have 4 enemies there, according to the great apostle. And each enemy carries a different assignment. You cannot be troubled by powers and fight principalities, hoping that what is troubling you will stop troubling you. That is why I said, an enemy you don't understand, you do not know, is an enemy you will not win against. So when the Bible says, my people die because they lack knowledge, is bigger than what we think. I'm not sure if you're ready for this one. He says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. He says, this war now has crossed the line of the natural. Forget about your mother-in-law. But against principalities. So principalities are here. He then says, against powers. Powers are here. He then says, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. And they are there. Then he says, against spiritual wickedness. He then tells us and he says, all this is happening in high places. Not in high place, but in high places. So there are those who are responsible for this place. And there are those who are responsible for this realm. And there are those who are responsible for this realm. But all this is happening in high places. Meaning it's not happening in our realm. Say with me, war against principalities. So today we want to deal with that entity called principality. Because once you dismantle principalities, powers and all the rulers of darkness and wickedness, which witchcraft falls under wickedness, they have no choice but to flee from you. Say, talk to me, Apostle. That is why we usually say a territory I don't know if you'll catch this one. A territory ruled by a prince is called principality. Zoom me, let me talk to those who are online. They will get this. A territory that is ruled by a prince is called a principality. So a principality is actually a territory that is ruled by a prince. But to make you understand it better, you can check that. You can fact check it. You realize the apostle is telling you what is there. So for me to put it in a way that you'll understand, a principality is a prince that rules a territory. So a principality cannot be a principality without a territory or a domain to influence. So what makes them principalities is because there is what we call territories that belongs to them. And I'm using the word belongs to them not because the territories belong to them, but they have claimed those territories. Now they have become gatekeepers in that territory. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out without them approving. So these are principalities that Paul is talking about. He says you are in a warfare, but the warfare you are in is not a physical one. It's a spiritual one. But before you go to war blind, let me tell you who you are up against. He says principality. It is then your duty to understand who and what is a principality. Because if I'm going to war against such an entity, I need to know what type of an entity is this. So when you deal with principalities, or when you are dealing with principalities, you are dealing with gatekeepers. What is a gate? A gate is a mystery of access. I don't think you're ready for this. I don't think you're ready for. Are you ready for this one? I'm not here to be in the shallow today, brothers and sisters. I told you I'm going to be deep today. Is that fine with you, or should I reserve this for another people? I don't know. New Life, are you here? Talk to me. I'm your apostle. Talk to me. Maybe we can find another Sunday school sermon that everybody will understand. Where we go, Jesus was born in Bethlehem. And the day he was born, wise men came, brought gifts, and everybody sang, and the Lord was born. And Herod heard it, and he was not happy. While you are sick in your body, and doctors can't even identify your problem. While you are suffering, not knowing what is the cause of your stress, your sorrows, the devil is a lie. You see, the problem with the church, we have say war against principalities. So principalities are what? Are gatekeepers. What is a gate? A gate is a mystery of access. A gate is what keeps what's on the other side. Let me try you here. They are here, this one's. Let me try you here. A gate is what keeps what's on the other side. So in other words, once you access the gate, you are then able to get what's on the other side of the gate. Some of you, I'm talking and you are far from what apostle is actually talking about, because in your mind you are thinking about a lot of things. Let me come down to your level. Some of you, what's on the other side is your healing. Some of you, what's on the other side is your deliverance. Some of you, what's on the other side is your prosperity. But I want you to understand that there exist what we call principalities, and these are gatekeepers. That is why when you read in the book of Daniel, Daniel is the one who prayed. God is the one who answered. But how did he answer? He answered Daniel by sending an angel called Gabriel. And Gabriel, while he was on his way to meet Daniel, the Bible says, and a prince of Persia stood against Gabriel. Why is the prince of the kingdom of Persia fighting Gabriel? It's because according to the prince of the kingdom of Persia, I am the gatekeeper of this territory. So no entity can come in here without me approving. So all of a sudden, there is what we call spiritual warfare. Daniel, who is praying, cannot see the warfare. Daniel, who is trusting God for a breakthrough, for his answer, so to say, for understanding, cannot see that there is an angel fighting to come to where he is. And guess what? For 21 days, he is lakuna ma'aklavida. But there is an angel that is also fighting. And the same angel does not look at the prince of the kingdom of Persia and say to the prince of the kingdom of Persia, how dare you? I am Gabriel who stands in the presence of God. Gabriel knew that the prince of the kingdom of Persia wouldn't care. You're not hearing me. And that is how you approach principalities. I am a child of God. Do you think they care? Do you think they don't know you're a child of God? That is why a man called Paul is dangerous. He says, for the weapons of our warfare. He does not say for the weapon. He says for the weapons. So every time you deal with these entities, you need to know what type of a weapon to pull. Because what can dismantle a principality might not dismantle spiritual wickedness. So the prince of the kingdom of Persia had claimed a territory that even an angel that was responsible for message in heaven or messages or revelation in heaven could not just enter without the prince of the kingdom of Persia contending. And Gabriel, according to the Bible says, and he called on who? Michael. For what? For backup. I thought this was Gabriel. His presence will shift things in the spirit. I thought this was Gabriel. His appearance will cause principalities to hide or to look for a place to hide. But to my surprise, the prince of the kingdom of Persia took him face to face, head to head, and say, you are not going in here. And by the look of things, he was not going in. What do you mean, apostle? He was not going in. Why will he call Michael if he knew that at the end he was going to prevail? The first night he thought he was going to prevail. The second night he thought he was going to prevail. The third night he thought he was going to prevail. After 7 days he thought he was going to prevail. Now it was 2 weeks fighting just to go and get to where Daniel is. And then he realized, I might as well as call upon Michael, the angel of war. And the Bible then says, and Michael came and he began to wrestle with the prince of the kingdom of Persia. And Gabriel was able now to go to where Daniel is and said to Daniel, Daniel, here's your answer, but I have to go and help Michael. Notice, if you may, even Michael still needs help. Why? Because the prince of the kingdom of Persia, if he wins or prevails, he can come down to where Gabriel is, mess Gabriel up and mess Daniel up. You're not hearing what I'm saying.